That's why brand new poop scooping businesses can compete on price and charge much lower than the general market because they can make a lot less per hour. They can pay themselves $25 an hour and still be way cheaper than the general market because you can do 2 houses an hour, $12, $13 a house. Take out trash bags and your gas cost, you can make $25 an hour pretty easily. So when it comes to how you price your service in the pet waste removal business, first off, at different seasons of your business, you're gonna have different specifications in how and what methodologies you use to price. But when you're starting out, the first thing you're gonna start with, and my dad taught me this when I started mowing yards at a very, very young age, was how much do you wanna make per hour? If you can make $15 an hour at a 9-to-5 job, you should be making a lot more building your own business. And so how much do you want to make per hour? That's the first question you have to ask. You also have to kind of do some market research and be competitive, but you don't want to be too competitive for too long. So you may be priced very competitively early on, but you have to recognize that as your costs increase, as your business grows, you're not gonna be able to compete at those competitive rates. You're gonna start losing and cutting into your profit margin. If you're scooping, how much can you make an hour? How many homes can you scoop an hour? If you can scoop 2 homes an hour and you're charging $20 a house, there's $40 an hour less your costs, less your trash bags and your equipment, your fuel, your vehicle insurance, so on and so forth. You can go into whatever detail you want or however little detail. The bigger you get, the more you scale, the more you bring on team members, the more detailed you're gonna have to get. When it's just you, it's pretty simple. How much do you want to make per hour? Can you do 2.5 homes an hour? Can you do 4 homes an hour? And then obviously back that out of your cost. When you have a recurring service, you don't want to charge by the hour. You're not going to sell anybody. Your clients want a fixed cost. They want to know that if you're coming every Tuesday, the price is this. If you tell them that it's an hourly rate, you're probably not going to sell too many people. At least you're not going to keep them on service for very long. If you've got a complex price structure that is not easily explainable via your website or via just talking to your clients, the more confusing and convoluted you make it, the more barriers you're creating for your potential client to make the decision. And so that is why at Scoop Soldiers, we don't charge extra for the first scoop. We don't charge extra for multiple dogs because we want to eliminate the barriers for that potential lead to make the decision to go with us. You do need to think about your break-even costs when you think about scooping, but it's really simple. You have trash bags. Well, those are 15 cents a piece. I'm ballparking that, but they're 15 cents a piece, and you usually use a couple on the first scoop, and then like 1 per house thereafter. So you have a 15-cent trash bag, and you have fuel, and it's really hard to figure your fuel up per stop until you have a full route or multiple full routes. So you do want to know your costs, but the thing is you understand that's the simplicity in this industry. Your costs are very small and very simple in that there's not a lot of them. It's like literally one thing, it's a trash bag and gas. How much do you need to make to be profitable in this business? That's going to vary by a lot of things. If you are the technician and you are scooping, and let's pretend like you've started, you're bootstrapping this thing, you're hustling, and let's pretend like you are doing another side hustle. Maybe you're delivering pizzas and driving Uber, and you're also scooping. I'm just using this as an example. What are your costs to get that extra house? Literally, your costs are the gas it takes to drive to the property, the cost of the trash bags. The rest you've already done. You've bought your dustpan and your rake, so that's not a direct cost to that job. You've got trash bags, you've got your fuel to get to the property, and you've got your time. So what's your time worth? How much would you make driving Uber and or delivering pizzas? And kind of start to formulate your pricing around that. Again, you should make a lot more in your own business than what you're making delivering pizzas, and so price accordingly. And so it's that simple when you start out. That's why brand new poop scooping businesses can compete on price and charge much lower than the general market because they can make a lot less per hour. They can pay themselves $25 an hour and still be way cheaper than the general market because if you know, you can do 2 houses an hour, $12, $13 a house, take out trash bags and your gas cost, you can make $25 an hour pretty easily and be pretty low cost. But as your cost as a business and your overhead go up, and as you start to think about paying for marketing and all of these different things, that's when you're gonna realize, I can't be so inexpensive in how I price. So when you start looking at who is your ideal client in the pet waste removal industry, what we have found in all of our markets is, for us, it's residential communities, 1/4 acre to 1 acre sized neighborhoods, lots in suburban neighborhoods. So I'd say suburban neighborhoods, 1/4 acre, maybe even smaller, like condo type, 0 lot line type properties, so even smaller than 1/4 acre, all the way up to 1 acre properties. It is a misconception that only large estates and wealthy people that have multi-acre, properties would be a buyer of this service. This service is actually something that people of all demographics pay for, because people of all demographics appreciate convenience and love their animals. So once you've gotten your lead, you've imported your lead, you've brought in the information you need, name, phone number, address, email, and how many dogs do you have. Once you've done that, how often is too often, or how often is not enough when it comes to following up with that lead to get them converted? First off, almost never can you overdo it. Now, if you call them 25 times in a day, that's overdoing it. But if you're calling, emailing, and texting once a day, it might seem aggressive, but it works. It does work. So all forms of contact, and I would say email, phone, text comes to mind. You're communicating with that lead until you hear from them and get a chance to answer whatever questions and concerns they may have. And then you get them set up. How do you get them set up? This is the key. This to me should be industry standard in pet waste removal. And that is, you collect a credit card. You get you have your forms of payment. You should have one form of payment. We take all forms of credit card. Amex to Discover to Visa and MasterCard. We take all major forms of credit card. No Zelle, none of these newer, because you can't scale that. You can't scale leaving a check under the mat. People forget. Their poop scooping service is not at the top of their mind every Tuesday when you're scheduled to come out. It's not supposed to be, at least. So checks under the mat don't really work, nor do giving the client the opportunity and offering 15 different forms of payment. No, you take a credit card and you get that credit card before you get out for your first service, and you bill, I believe, again, should be industry standard, you bill after the service is completed, immediately and/or the next day after service is completed, so that you're getting paid immediately. If you're waiting until the end of the month, you are losing immediately, because you're not getting paid until weeks later in some cases. So you don't want to do that. You want to generally try to get paid as quickly as possible and as frequently as possible. It helps with your cash flow, and you usually want to have a very specific payment system that is usually going to be built around credit cards, because that's the most scalable thing to do. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I hope this video provided you some value. To learn more, be sure to click here. Also, be sure to subscribe and follow us along on the T-Pig Takeover Tour. Subscribe to the Pet Waste Millionaire. Be sure to engage.